All right, here's a little rundown of the installation. I got it on, it's working, so I am done. I don't know when I'll use it because I wrecked my truck and I'm still fixing some things on it. But some quick little tips for you. We'll start with these bumper brackets. All right, I had to replace mine because I wrecked my truck, but you're going to reuse yours, but you're going to have to take them off. Before you take them off, I would recommend, I don't know how well it's going to show up, but I scribed along this one with some Sharpie, with a Sharpie pen, a marker, because I had to make an adjustment. You can see where I put that line and I wanted to raise it back up. All right, so get you some reference marks on each side. And the reason that is when you put these bumper brackets on, if they're not in the exact same location that they were to begin with, your bumper's not going to line up right. And so when you put your bumper brackets back on, you're going to reuse this one right here. You're going to get rid of the other one that's on the other side, and you're going to put this one in its place. And this bolt runs through there on that one. But so while this is off and while your intercooler's out, you want to put your bumper back on. And you want to tweak all this stuff to get your bumper alignment right, you know, because it could be, you know, your margin not be right here, down too low, whatever. So get your bumper, put it back on, bolt it on top and bottom, and make sure it's right before you put this intercooler back in this center section, because there won't be no getting to it. And this, like I said, I wrecked my truck. I hadn't replaced the AC condenser because it didn't leak. But this is that bracket, the AC condenser relocator bracket. It's got a bolt there, then it's got another bolt down there, and then it just bolts in right there. And this, you can see how this little dude does, but it just raises your, you know, and these are slotted, so I could go down lower if I wanted to, but it all clears. As far as the winch, the instructions will tell you to take out these 7 4mm bolts on the end, not the motor side, but the side that has your free spool lever on it. And you're gonna clock this counterclockwise 90 degrees. There is an O-ring and it's profiled to all this, so you have to make sure that it's free when you separate it 1/4 of an inch, and make sure it spins, you know, the O-ring spins with this, and make sure it's seated properly before you tighten it back down. And here are the cables for the relocation kits. This is your little ground cable, goes on your ground. This has the bigger ring, and I just ran it behind that bumper bracket, up through here, right on through here. There's a little extra slack. I could take and cut these, and I may do it later so that it's not extra. I could even cut these and you know, make everything, just clean it up a little bit. But all in all, it's pretty good and it works. This is your relocation bracket for your controller box. It just bolts into that. It's a 13mm right there, and it is tight, but there's still enough where you can raise it up and get to your box, so that's kind of nice. All right, these little things right here block off airflow, so it forces the air to go through here, so that way it, you know, the fan doesn't try to pull air from around the side of it. But whenever you relocate this condenser, it changes that. So like you can see, there was a push tab right there and a push tab right there. I just drilled another hole and zip tied it back on there, kind of keep that intact. I hadn't done the other side yet. I still am waiting on my intercooler boots because I busted one of them, And I actually am replacing these, going a size up, because it was cheaper to do that than just to buy the boot. So we'll see how that goes. But that's really the only thing that I'm liking. And I broke my grill. I got to get another grill. But I'm trying to think of anything else that might help y'all. Oh yeah, so these are, you know, like carriage bolts, so they got a square impression on the other side. So you'll notice that it's going to be square on this outside bracket right here, and on the inside it's going to be round. Well, it's just the opposite on these. They're going to have a square impression on this inner center section, top and bottom, and these are going to be circles. And that will give you a clue as to how to, you know, make that work. And make sure that you don't put this thing on upside down. It's got a cutout for the winch cable to come through, and that favors towards the top. So just remember that. As far as clearance, you can see that's the winch. That is the intercooler, and there's clearance there. And for the people who say that it's blocking airflow, you know, your intercooler, it stops right there where my fingers are. So I don't know about that. I think it's going to be fine. All right, and under here, of course, it's going to be dark, but that is your shroud. This piece right here that bolts to it, and it mates up really nice with that little flexible shroud that's on the truck. So it's going to be pulling your air. I really wouldn't be that worried about it. Alrighty, got her bumper back on. I just sat it on there because I've still got to wait on my intercooler boots. But yeah, for some reason I was just going to put that steel cable on here for now and fool with it later, but it doesn't clear. You have to use this, you know, at least this. But if you look at my unboxing video, you'll see that I bought the EVO rope and saved like $300 off the VR EVO 12S just by getting the regular 12 with the steel cable. And I'm about to put that steel cable and fair lead on my gooseneck. But when you swap that over, when you unbolt that cable from the spool, that screw is going to be too long. So it's an M6, and I used a 12 millimeter long, and that worked. But yeah, I mean, I'm happy with it. I'm glad I did it. Just got to get it, you know, put back together. But that y'all won't have to fool with that, so y'all will be done if you was me.